Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Donnie.
And I'm Nick, and today we're rambling with Chris Jacobson about some urban owls in his backyard.
As you can see, I'm not sure what the camera looks like, but we are on his deck. It's very nice. And the reason why we're here is to sit on his deck because you've got a family of screech owls who have been here for...
Eastern Screech Owls have been here for going on 4 years now.
Nice. And we won't pick it up on the camera, but we'll certainly add some pictures and video maybe later. But within, 25 feet, there's one box, and you've put a second box up in recent times. But so when did you first notice that you were getting that kind of activity here?
It was June of 2017. My daughter was home from school, and we just happened to out looking at plants. She's big into plants. We were out on the driveway looking at something, and then all of a sudden, just massive commotion in the backyard, just like I've never heard before. It sounded like something was being killed. Birds going crazy, and like I said, it's a big magnolia tree in the backyard. So came back here and looked, and really couldn't see what was going on, just the birds going crazy. But then we spotted a small owl and her baby owlet beside her. His head was bobbing back and forth and just kind of trying to stay on the branch. And I was able to get really close to it, took a picture with my BlackBerry, and just kind of left it alone. And it was a couple of days I stayed, and then we had no idea. At the time, I don't think I've ever seen an owl in my life. And that was the first time. And then after hearing it, I kind of put two and two together. It's like, yeah, I've heard that before,
right,
in the backyard. I didn't know what the call was at the time. And then I just kind of went online and saw they're kind of common around here, and actually they do well in suburban areas. So found some plans and kind of mashed together an owl house and put it up.
They look great.
Nice.
Yeah, they look awesome.
And then got raccoons.
Got the raccoons. So that I'll probably put a little bit of a dampener on it. But so how did you get rid of the raccoons? Did you just have to bang the box, whatever?
I have no idea. I was just going to work one morning. I looked out and I saw a head stick, and I go, "Oh, great, we got an owl!" And put my glasses on, and then saw that it was two raccoons, baby ones, sticking their heads out. I don't know if the mother put them in there because I don't think a full grown raccoon.
It's pretty.
Yeah, I wonder.
So they're sticking their heads out, and then they climb down the tree, and they're kind of coming towards me. I don't know if they thought I was daddy or something. So I called Erie Wildlife, and I said, like, should I do something with them? And they said, no, just put some cat food out for them or something, and give them some water. So I did that, and they were still here when I came home from work, but the next day everybody was gone.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what was going on there.
So they're only here for a couple days then.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Not that I noticed, but I think.
And then the owls turned up that same season, or you didn't?
No, that was probably June of 2018, and then and then November of that same year.
Oh, okay.
She showed up.
Nice.
And it was for sure there was an owl there, and she roosted here all winter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, is that common that the owl will stay at the same, like, whenever I find owls in the wild, screech owl, you'll see some poking their head out, and it's usually in the winters when I see them. Mm-hmm. Will they use that year round? It'll be the same one stay. So you reckon they stay year round here? Yeah?
That's what I've found. Is they've been. Oh. It seems like every right around October, 1st November, if they've had owlets the previous season and they've been out all summer teaching them in the field what they're supposed to do, at least one parent will come back to the same box, and she's here every day. Like, I've been working from home for 16 months, right in this room here. And my desk is there, and I can look out. And if it's a sunny day, she's looking at me the whole time.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's crazy. Now, do you think they have become used to you somewhat?
I would think maybe a little bit. Like, I don't try to go near them or anything, and but they don't seem too skittish. I can cut the grass. I can.
There's nothing that you're doing in your yards.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not stopping anything.
Right.
No. But cool. I can. If she's sticking her head out the box, and I can go right under it. She's looking right down at me. They always see you before you see them.
Right.
Like, for sure.
Yeah. True. How'd you get the camera idea?
It was Donnie's idea. I didn't know anything about sharing or live streaming video, but the second year when she was here in November, and then it seemed like she had left. But then one day we saw two owls sticking their head out, and it was her and I guess a male doing their thing in the box, and then it seemed like she was gone for about a month. And then we're just kind of looking, and then June of that year, all of a sudden we start a little owlet sticks her head out, then another one, There was 4 in there. So I started. I have a camera, but it's not that great. I have a lens on it, so I've got a telescope. So my wife, she went on Amazon and found this little contraption. You put your cell phone on the telescope, and it's getting great.
Yeah,
nice,
great image. So then I saw that you could live stream on Facebook, and I was a member of the Ontario Owl group.
Yep.
And I figured, oh, people might want to see this, so I started live streaming it. And I think you piped in about something about you should maybe try to put a camera inside the box. I said, oh, give that a try. So it's all Donnie's fault.
No, but it's been fascinating because I remember the first time whenever I seen you doing it was you were saying about being on your scope, and I went, oh, it's cool, but no, can you take it a step further? Because the fact that they were becoming residents,
and plus we missed so much because, like I said, if for a month there we didn't know what was going on. We thought she had left or something happened to her, and it wasn't until the owlets started sticking their head out, and by that time you're only going to see them for about a week before they fledge.
Right.
So
True.
we missed like a whole month. Well, more than that because we didn't see her sitting on the egg for the month before, so you're missing like 2 months.
Yeah, it's good. And you obviously think whenever Audubon or some university they've got a raptor nesting on their property, somebody sponsors them and put a camera up or whatever. They're like, it's hard to tell from our point of view how much traffic they're getting, but you always seem to see there's not enough
And they
interest
get shared
in them.
all the time.
And they're getting shared, and you see them on Facebook. And I whenever said about that, they said, "General, that's just a cool."
I don't think I've seen a Screech Owl one.
No,
Have you?
that's the first was when Chris did it. Like, it was, there was the odd.
I think I've seen a great horned owl one.
I think
I've
Somebody
seen a
had
great
one
horned
up,
owl
but
too,
they're
yeah.
like, they just pick up anybody's
Well,
nest.
exactly. It'll be hard to. Well, I know they will come back to the same nest too if they're early enough, but just the unpredictableness of where they're going to go.
Yeah.
It's this is sort of unique, as in it's a box for them. And
I had actually seen one guy down in Texas. He live streams it, and it looks like he's had it for a couple of years. And
okay,
he seems to have a bigger box, and he's got it all set up. And
yeah.
he,
But yours has worked really well. I know you sort of said that there was 4 outlets the first year, and then once you put the camera in, there was only one that sort of, there was a few eggs, but only.
Yeah, she came back the next well, those owlets fledged, and then the following February I ordered the camera and put it in just to see what would happen. And,
So is the camera like? You have an app, or how do you watch it?
Yeah, it's just a small camera's about 2 inches by 2 inches, and I installed it so it's kind of recessed into the ceiling because the owls are pretty rambunctious, and I didn't want to get it knocked or get the lens dirty.
True.
So there's a little housing on it. It's waterproof housing, and there's an app. Yeah, it's just wireless to my router, and the app is called IC Pro.
Okay.
And you just, as long as you got a mobile device, phone, iPad, and it's magnificent. Like as far
so
as
cool.
reliability, like I've never had an issue with it.
Really,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's so cool.
And then stores it on a SD card, like you were saying, and you can pull the images, take a picture, zoom in.
That's pretty neat.
I'm gonna have to try this.
Yeah,
It's
you're
so
getting it.
cool. I hear them around my house all the time.
Right, yeah, because we've seen evidence around a couple of trees in your house.
Yeah, we've talked about getting an owl box forever too. So
So when I replace the bat box with a
the
owl
bat
box,
box ain't doing
the
too
bat
well.
box hasn't worked out.
well, we looked it up. The bat box says it takes up to 2 years for you to get bats.
Yeah,
And I was like, that's a
and
little while.
I'm pretty sure they'll eat them.
Well, one of the things is it's one, with raptors, you've got that sort of double-edged sword, being a bird lover.
Yeah.
Like I remember last year, one of the first images you posted was a scarlet tanager, as it's one of its first kills of the season. Looking at it, it would have been also an early record for a scarlet tanager in Essex County. So
First time I've ever seen one. Actually,
I was trying to look and say, can I make it into a cardinal? Don't want it to be a scarlet tanager, but at the same time, whenever you look at other birds, you typically don't want to make it a cardinal either, right? Because everybody likes cardinal, but a scarlet tanager being
and it was for sure it was so vivid.
right, yeah, you can see the black.
Camera's got great color on it.
No, but again, it's neat to see that because it's not contrived. It's what they're doing naturally, and the fact that they're I think you've even mentioned about sort of rodent control.
Oh, for sure. Like this, I think everywhere in Windsor has seen the increase in rats. Just they were saying because of the pandemic. I don't know if that's true or not, but this is a suburban area. But in the last few years, we can't keep tomatoes growing. We used to have tomatoes, but as soon as they started ripening, the rats are getting them.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And you see them once in a while, but I grew up on this street and I never saw them when I was a kid. But so it seems to be a new species around. But yeah, it was awesome. This year we put the outside camera on, and almost I think between February and mating season, she brought in 10 full-size rats.
Really?
And it's they're good-sized rats.
They're pretty big.
You figured the mass of them compared to her.
Right. Oh yeah, that's
and she'd fly over them, and she'd get the opening, and sometimes she struggled hauling it in, but she always got it in.
Was that about the biggest thing they bring in?
There was a little bunny last year, but I think they'd be about comparable as far as size.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. But and from this, there has been a bit of an uptick. Locally, there's been some people. Whenever you're sharing about these kind of, it is good for rodent control. People are always interested in owls, right? Whenever it's just one of those fascinating species of bird. I'm sort of part of doing the podcast. We were always wanting to highlight these kind of things, but you've done an exceptional job just on through Facebook and that there. And like you said, so you've went from doing this for yourself to people then contacting you, turned into a little niche business sort of thing now.
Yeah, a little bit. Just like I knew nothing about it to begin with too, so
Right.
and there's a lot of good stuff online. There's some guys that have done some amazing, like stop photography and everything else, and nighttime stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not there, but so yeah, just kind of learn it, and as you're watching, you kind of pick up what they're up to, and then a lot of people were interested too, and I've never seen an owl in my life, and same as me.
Yeah.
I kind of think that people like them because they got a face.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
It's expression.
It's we've had a cat, and it's kind of like having a cat around. Like
Yeah, they do.
they kind of look at you like, I don't really care about you. But you seem more interested in me than I'm interested in you.
Yeah. So, whenever you started taking like orders for them, did you ever think that would become sort of as popular? Because I remember one of the pictures you had, and your whole garage was
I started making a couple of them, and actually just started them as gifts. My brother retired a few years ago, and he's just down the street, so he put one up in his backyard. He got an owl right away. I gave one to my cousin in South Windsor, and she's kind of near the 401, and about maybe 3 weeks she had an owl in hers.
Wow.
And my son gave one to his father-in-law, also in Riverside, and he put it up on for Christmas, and he put it on Boxing Day and had it by New Year's Day.
Really?
Yeah.
And he's had owlets in his. And then this kind of word got around, and people were, I didn't know you had owls in suburban areas, and so I figured I'll make a few and try to sell them. And then because of the pandemic, I figured, well, during the big lockdown, I figured I'll try to make one a day during the lockdown for 30 days, and I made 30 of them during that lockdown. Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
So you still sell them, or you?
Yeah, I like I said, the price of wood went up, so I kind of slowed down a bit.
Yeah. Starting to making them out of like 1/8
Yeah.
plywood.
Yeah. So I'm looking at retiring soon too. So
Okay.
That was the plan. It was starting, all the retirement's going to happen earlier now, and then price of lumber goes up. That was a killer, eh?
So it'll be like real estate. People start bidding on my
So
house.
there you go. In Windsor, like this is they're probably quite pricey if you were to put them on the market.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
It's gone kind of crazy in the last couple of years.
Yep.
So the majority of the ones you sell or make are just without the camera, but you're saying people are starting to.
Yeah, it was mostly without the camera, and the first batch I made because I didn't know if people would be interested in that. They just kind of wanted an owl, and it was the same thing I experienced. People were putting them up. They were getting owls. They saw they have an owl, and then they were saying, "Oh, there's an owlet," and they're the same thing. Like they're missing so much of it, and it's just they're so elusive and mysterious. That most of their activities at night, and like the stuff you see at night is just amazing. Like the infrared, like you're saying, the infrared light comes on, and they're active all night, bringing stuff in, and especially when they've got the owlets, they're feeding them.
Right.
What are some of the highlights that you've seen, like activity-wise?
Well, the hatching of the egg.
Yeah, that's how hard to beat that.
Like last April 20th. It was a Monday night. My wife and I were inside watching Antiques Roadshow. I just happened to have the iPad on, and I thought I'd heard like in the afternoon like a peeping sound, and I thought it was something outside, but it's actually you can hear them inside the egg. And it took about an hour, and she was out. And it seemed like the mother was agitated that whole time too, and she left the nest, and so it was wide open, nothing obstructing the camera.
Nice.
So I got the whole thing.
Nice.
That's
Very
cool.
nice.
Yeah, are they red morph or like all gray or?
These ones are all gray, and I'm not sure how that works as far as if the reds turn red after their first molt.
Oh.
Which
Yeah, I'm
is
not sure
away from
neither.
the nest, but my mom's just down the street, so kind of get the idea. We kind
That's you in the street.
my
to say-
brother, my niece lives next door to my mom, and my niece moved in last year, and she's got a big old house, and on the top window, a red morph was sitting on the window
That's
ledge.
cool.
So
That's-
they're around here. So I
Yeah.
got to put one at my mom's house now.
Yeah. You can almost like sell your boxes with a guarantee to get an owl. It sounds like, you know, it's
Sounds like it.
but it probably goes to show you just how common of a species
For
it
sure,
is, right?
yeah.
No, it's again, there is a sort of elusive nature of owls, but as a bird watcher, I know they're around. But people are also the desire to go. If you told somebody that there's a screech owl somewhere,
I
they
almost
line up to.
like I said, I didn't know anything about these before. It was screech owls. I'd never seen one before, but to me, it's almost like got a better chance of getting a screech owl than a wren if you put a wren house
Right.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had that little house up on the tree. I've never had anything in it.
No, but I really do find it fascinating. And then As last year went on, and you got to witness the whole from egg to the fledgling, and then you put that little documentary together. I thought it was absolutely excellent.
Yeah, that was like we've got two granddaughters, and we kind of thought they'd be able to come here and see what's going on, but then the pandemic hit, like right in March, right when the eggs were laid, and so we didn't see them for a month and a half. Like we saw nobody came over. My mother, she's in good health and everything, but didn't want to risk anything there, so yeah, so I figured I'll put something together. I've never done it before, so I just kind of cobbled together some software online, free software, which was kind of disastrous. Kind of froze up on me a bunch of times, but yeah, I just put it together and it.
And I'm going to assume in like the sort of the interest in the seals of the box. And I know you're not really in it for the seals of the boxes, but just did that sort of start to peak them whenever? Because to me the little documentary just sort of tied everything together and the real interest in it. You know?
Yeah. It seems like there was a big interest after that, and just word of mouth, like the ones that I had, either given away as gifts and stuff. People were saying, "Yeah, I've got an owl now," and just But like I've been selling to Ottawa, lots in the Guelph area. Just
so that Ontario Owls page must
that too. Yeah,
it's pretty popular.
Yeah.
And, so
is there you have a Facebook page or something?
Yeah, I put up a Facebook page. So it's pretty active.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
It's called the Megascops Manor, right?
Yeah, Megascops.
That's that's their whatever Latin name.
The genus name for all screech owls. I guess there's and they're only screech owls only in the Americas. I didn't know that either.
Oh, okay. Really? Yeah.
So the plan obviously this year was to try and witness or do the same thing, but maybe that's like a little sort of thing to it. Like last year you were kind of locked down, couldn't do much, the pandemic, and all this sort of unfolded in front of you. This year we're kind of ramping back up again. We're a bit more active. Unfortunately, you had some squirrel visitors. You seem to think that.
Yeah, that's one thing too. And like, even when people that are buying them too, they're running the same problems. Like, and I kind of warm too. Like, squirrels love them. Like, it's a perfect spot for them to, and they'll fill it up. No matter how much nesting material you put in, they'll fill it right to the top with leaves in an hour. And I had the same problem here too. And kind of the advantage of the camera in there, though, is you can see what's going on.
True.
So if you're checking it through the day, you can see there's a big squirrel in there. You can go up there and clean it out.
Yeah, I guess that's a real bonus with the camera thing, right?
Yeah.
Where most people, you kind of get what you get because you aren't really sure what's in it. You might think it's an owl, so you don't touch it, and it turns out to be squirrels.
Yeah, a lot of people they'll just say, "Oh, whatever, I got a squirrel. I'll watch the squirrels this season." But they nest twice a year, so it's like, oh,
right. And then it becomes a rodent problem, right?
There's a lot of squirrels here. We don't need more squirrels.
Yeah.
And I've never seen an owl take a squirrel though.
No,
I don't know
really.
If it's just too big or.
Now there was a couple of sort of fights they had with the squirrel, right? So and like you said, it was quite aggressive at the time.
There's two squirrels in particular. There's a black one with a red tail and a gray one. And this year she was up there trying to establish that she wanted to nest here again, and they weren't having it. They were just in there. They'd go right in with. The year before that, when she was sitting on eggs, one tried and she fought it off.
Okay.
And it didn't come back. But this year, it was one real brutal fight. The camera got it all.
That's cool.
And the squirrel stuck around. She flew off, and then the second time, the squirrel came up from behind, and she had her head stuck out and swatted her, and she took off again. And that's when they didn't come back this year. So that's why we put the second house up.
Yeah. So you're hoping now, potentially that because you can sort of squirrel-proof this tree, that they'll move to that one, and then you can. Would you take that one down, make it that, or would you just?
I'm not sure yet. I guess we'll just have to see what happens. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I can squirrel-proof the red maple tree, and I might have to trim a few branches, but I don't know. I put it up. I think the situation was they moved down to my brother's house because he's all of a sudden started seeing activity in his house. And for about maybe 3-4 weeks, then activity stopped there, and that's when I had put this one up, and we started seeing. We assume they're the same family, but we still don't even know that. I'm not even sure how big their actual territory is.
Hunting range are. Yeah, not sure.
And like, are they like territorial? Would you ever? Is it possible to have a family in each box? I wonder. I would imagine probably not.
That this close, like
I would imagine probably not.
He's 7 houses down, so
that's pretty close too.
I'm not sure.
Uh-huh.
But like I said, I see him at my mom's house too, and it's a red morph, so you can tell it's a different.
Yeah,
that's a different owl. But but when they came back, it was just like kind of they were on vacation. Like they didn't seem to be doing anything, and it was kind of late in the mating season too. So I thought maybe something happened down there, and they'd just given up. But like I said, they were using the bird bath and just like Club Med here.
Yeah, that's it. We'll definitely have to get some of those images on because
Yeah.
the face of the owl when it's just splashing about in the water is hilarious.
I'd come up a few times out of the great entrance here, and they were just on the grass, just hanging out.
Yeah.
It's like, excuse
That's
me.
That's it. That's it. Well, what
I
are you
just
doing?
kinda backed off. Like, yeah, it's
That's the
like,
first time we've been going vacation.
yeah.
That's been pretty good.
And we actually we sit out here at night, and they'd start about 9 o'clock. That's when they get active, and we actually saw them mate a couple times.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've got a couple some video of that too, which I think that's kind of rare is to
Yeah.
be able to see an
Yeah,
owl mating.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it really has opened up a whole sort of avenue of that there. Their habits and what they're doing and stuff like you said, everything with the cameras being inside and you're sort of being able to watch in this area. You really have captured stuff that some of these
Stuff like
wildlife
that.
guys do that
For
they
sure.
spend thousands to go to trek into the back of nowhere to just see stuff. But and that's what I think the beauty of it is in the urban, suburban areas that people are always moaning on some of the social medias and that whenever even if the local news do about it, saying about there's nothing in Windsor, it could be any city, and it annoys me because like this is happening. If you provide a place for it, you will have it. There's obviously you could have a neighbour who hates all of this, and
Yep.
try and get rid of oils, try and get rid of the education side of it as well. Just the fact that you tell people, have you seen a rat or have you had any rat problems in the last? Because
And you kind of want to see that happen too, and it's like people don't realize, I've been poisoning the rats too. Or like, I
yeah.
get rid of them. And it's like,
Yeah,
you
it's
might
not
want
good
to
for the
maybe
owls.
second
Yes.
think that because you got owls around here, and
Right.
there's gonna be secondary poisoning there.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
an
that's
education thing too, and fireworks too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How did they react to the fireworks? I know you had the Robin camera and
But last year was Victoria Day, so the one owlet was in there alone.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You could tell she was terrified.
Right.
There was neighbors shooting them off, and for half an hour she was in there alone. And
oh yeah.
at that time, she's just a white fluffy ball,
Right.
and her eyes are open, and you could tell that she was.
Yeah, never heard anything like that before. And,
Yeah.
What about storms, thunderstorms? Same thing.
We had a
kinda?
really good thunderstorm when she was sitting on the eggs, and one clap, she jumped off the eggs. She didn't leave the nest though; she just kind of
Just
went
got
to the
freaked
roost.
out a little bit, kind of
Yeah.
like you would if you were out there and just heard a.
But to me,
thunderclap.
it
That's
seems,
exactly.
yeah, it seems like a different reaction between fireworks and storms. So I don't know if they can kind of tell storm is moving in, but it's pretty much like she's not getting wet in there. So
Yeah,
it's,
true.
Yeah. Now, remember, you added the window and then you took it away, or it wasn't really.
Yeah. When I bought the camera, they even suggest it's the camera inside is specifically made for a birdhouse.
Okay.
And they kind of suggest that you just make a small little aperture type window in the side and put some sanded plexiglass just to allow a little bit more light in. So I did that, and I kind of thought, well, it's an owl, that the light might annoy her because they roost during the day, they
Right.
sleep in there during the day. Like she's in there during the day, she's out.
Right.
And especially if it's a cloudy day, she doesn't move. She's just snoring away. And so I thought, and I just used a hole saw to do it.
Right.
So I thought, I'm not comfortable doing that. So I put
That's
it's an urban setting.
that's exactly. Yeah.
So I put the plug that I came with, I put it back in. I just thought it's inch pine, so I thought it would just sit there, and it did for a while. And then one day she's sitting on the eggs, and I don't know what happened, and that plug fell out right on her head. And I couldn't go up there at all, so it just stayed there.
That fence sort of got buried under all the.
Well, she
fellers
was
and-
gnawing on it for a while. It's almost like whatever you forgive for a budgie, like
Oh
a
yeah,
cuddle,
yeah,
bun.
cuttlefish. So that's sort of gone well with the whole. You're kind of confident or comfortable with the setup you've got now. You wouldn't think of adding anything else to it, or
No, I think the size of it is good. Like they're made out of pine, so the one owl box is about 10 kilos. So it's a good weight.
Yeah.
And the way I've got it up there is with straps, because I don't want to, I could screw it into the tree, but with the straps I can kind of loosen through the ears.
Right, just make it a bit bigger.
So it doesn't girdle the tree. And it's easy to take down, clean it out. I can pull the camera out, clean it up. But I let the camera run, even though there was no owls in there last summer. I just let it run all summer.
Yeah.
And it's still plugging away, no problem.
Anything in the summer? You ever get anything?
No, well, a couple squirrels, and I just leave them because in the summertime they're not going to stay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, true.
It's too warm there.
But I got solar panels up here, so I've got a big long pole for a roof rake to get the snow off them.
Okay.
So if I see a squirrel in there now on the camera, I'll just go with that and just
Give
Give it a
bump.
little
on the bang,
hello.
and they just scurry out.
That's
But other than that, when I put the second box up, the owls were not here right away, and a lot of starlings were just they would just go in there and they would just take the nesting material out.
That's
They,
the one.
they didn't use it. They just went,
Right.
took it out, and they'd sit on the roosting area and they just dump it on the ground.
Starlings are the worst.
I don't know what they did. I just for like a week they did that. I don't know what it was all about, and they didn't nest in there. So
Just to bug them, eh?
That's
That's
just,
all it is.
just because we can. You know, it's like the cat of the bird world,
Yeah.
right? Just they don't want
a
to.
couple small birds too. Like they would even when the owl was in there, they'd just kind of peek in.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
if they would like little wrens or something.
Just
like,
have a look to
like
see.
a really small pointy beak and just kind of look in and then be
Yeah,
gone.
ooh, I don't
Maybe
want to go in
nuthatch.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nuthatches probably do something similar. There was something I was about to say again, I forget.
Come on,
Go-
remember.
Have a stupid question there while I'm thinking.
I don't got any stupid ones right now.
Come on.
They come naturally.
But as far as like,
Are you concerned about directions? People some say, oh, you have to have an oil box facing this way. Yours are west facing, right?
yeah, that's just because we could see them from the deck.
Right.
But
That doesn't-
people were saying don't face it north because, and I can see that because in the wintertime they like to sit like when it's
The
sunny
sun,
out,
right, yeah,
they like
like-
to sit in the sun.
Yeah.
Even during the day they'll sit there in the sun, and so I figured, well, you know, north.
Anything but north. But I have seen people saying, oh, you should put them north too.
Why is that? What's the reason?
Oh,
for
I
it?
don't really ask. I don't want to get involved in those kind of
Yeah,
discussions. I just let people do what they want, right? So, oh yeah, that's north facing. You'll
Yeah.
get lots. And, yeah, okay.
You can have an argument about anything, I guess, really.
Well, exactly,
So
it's,
it's
you
like
know,
even, and I'll admit I'll take the odd picture with flash too, and it's like,
Right.
you know, I've read both. There's just anecdotal evidence that it doesn't really bother them,
Right.
but I don't overdo it. So.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they
that's-
don't seem to bother them at all.
Hummingbird.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Owls don't try and grab the hummingbirds then.
The other way around.
Oh yeah.
The hummingbirds, as far as harassment goes, they are the worst.
Really?
She'll go up there and the owl will be roosting, and she'll just back and forth, like like conversation. The owl's head's just going.
I wonder, do you
Crazy.
think they're nesting pretty close by then?
I have no idea.
Like any ones I've ever found at home are always like in a
Cedar or
evergreen
something, yeah.
pine tree that sort of covered a little.
They seem to
Mossy.
feed there, and then they seem to bolt that way.
Oh,
So
okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, probably somewhere pretty close.
But there was one night when the owl was in this tree using this owl box. And about 9 o'clock, they always come out and they'll sit on the branches and talk to each other. And then the hummingbird came along, and it was just
Oh yeah.
super aggressive. Like I didn't know hummingbirds chirped.
Oh yeah.
You could hear it chirping, and it was
Yeah.
actually making contact with the owl. Just that
poking
close.
them, eh?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Have you ever just sat here and the owls came up on the railing or anything
No,
like that?
Not. There's been droppings on that railing there, so at night they
Mm.
sometimes would sit there, I guess, and you can tell it's an owl dropping. But no, they've never come up really to visit us that close.
It's pretty cool. It's like
So-
super cool.
Yeah, you've really, it's been a real learning curve for you too. Like, no,
sure.
more educational, not learning curve, because it wasn't like something you were endeavoring to do, but just because of the natural intrigue and interest of it, you've just become like an owl. I'm
Always
pretty-
been interested in birds.
Yeah.
It's like always like Jack Meyer was one of my heroes. Other than that, he hated owls. I
right,
guess.
he raptors, he wasn't a fan of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like-
Why is that? Just because it ate everything
yeah,
else?
I think he's well known for killing a lot of.
Oh, and promoting it, like telling farmers, like they are there
Really?
to kill.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think there is some books of Jack Miners. If you read like bird lovers today, other than just thinking he's the hero of birds, would like I've had a few friends who are into it and they're disgusted.
Yeah,
You know, and they're-
I guess my thought is like growing up here, it was always a rite of passage. You have to go to school.
Yeah.
You
Right,
go there a
right.
couple
Yeah,
times.
absolutely.
My aunt and uncle came from Cornwall, England, one summer, and they had to go there. They'd heard of Jack Myers
Oh,
in the
yeah.
'70s, so we went there too. And to me, it's just the times he grew up in.
Right, exactly.
it's
Yeah,
different.
Like I don't think people realize just how famous he was.
Yeah.
And like because there was no TV, no internet, like
Yeah.
he was
yeah, he was the man.
world
yeah,
famous.
Yeah. I've read things about it too. Like it was, whenever Ford and that were having
Oh,
dues,
yeah.
like his name was
Yeah.
one of the top celebrities, sort of to have at the
Really?
baseball, like baseball,
baseball. Yeah,
players.
Ty Cobb, was
Yeah,
best friends.
I didn't know. I knew he was like a big name, but like I never
Yeah.
knew he was like.
So yeah,
Big,
I've
big.
kind of always admired him, but then when I heard that, yeah,
It's like gonna,
he killed owls, lots of owls.
yeah. So, like I said, so you were learning more, and like, do you ever get people sort of stumping you with questions because they think that you are the voice of Screech
Yeah,
Owls?
I try not to be because, like
Yeah.
I said, it's only been a couple of years for
Right.
me. But yeah, just
But that's pretty cool because it is nice sort of to be acknowledged that like I said, you've gone sort of from not really knowing anything about the owls.
never seeing one.
Yeah,
to-
never seen one to then sort of where you're at now, and it's great, and it's a pretty fast learning because it's happening. Like you're recording it, it's happening in your backyard, so the interest is always just going to get grabbed.
and trying to do it in a the right. I don't want to bother them at all. And like I said, I don't think we are. Like,
Right.
They don't. They're here for 3 years. I think they want to stay.
Yeah.
And as far as like, I'm not supposed to disturb the nest or anything else. So when I clean it out, I call them an R first.
Right.
Just to, I'm telling them I'm cleaning out an owl's nest on my property, and they said, appreciated the call, and said, yeah, go ahead and do it, and just dispose of everything.
Right.
Any of them banded or anything?
No, I didn't. I didn't really know who to call for that. And then actually on CBC, he's a comedian. He kind of goes to small towns.
Oh,
Okay.
Rick Mercer.
It's not Rick
No?
Mercer.
Oh.
It's another guy.
Oh yeah, who's that? There was another one.
It's kind of small towns are kind of on hard times. Anyways, he went to Pelee Island and
Oh,
did a
okay.
show there, and part of the segment was they went out at night
Oh,
and
the
went banding screech
brown.
owls.
Okay.
So I didn't know it was a thing. They put up these big nests, and the screech owls flying in, and they were banding them there. So I actually contacted the biologist that was on there, and she said, yeah, there's somebody at Holiday Beach that would ban them. So
Yeah, I've done the banding a number of times there, but we try for just saw-wets, but you get the odd screech owl coming in, and it'll get banded at the same time. Every so often they'll play the screech owl calls to bring them in, but
even that I don't like. I've never played screech owl calls around here. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. Like,
well,
it could be some kind of a.
it's the fact that yours
Danger
is,
call or-
it
Danger
doesn't
call.
really seem like a band wouldn't really be helpful. A transmitter might just that would be the next thing as far as your interest. Like, what are they doing during the day?
Yeah,
How far
that'd
away are
be
they
cool.
going?
Yeah.
But the band, these things are staying here. They're pretty much residents.
Yeah.
True. They're not really.
I guess it'd be interesting to
migrating
know,
too
like,
much.
especially with the one year when they had like 4 of them here.
Right.
What happens at the end of their when they fledge and she stays with them all summer? How far afield do they
Yeah,
have to
they'll
go
go.
before
Yeah.
like she chases them away? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I know that with like bald eagles, the parents will tolerate the young around the nest for up to about 3 years
Okay.
in the area. So some of them you'll see. Sometimes you'll see like one with near adult plumage, close to a pair.
Actually, there's a bald eagle nest about a kilometer
Yeah.
through the fields here. Took some great pictures this spring there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, that's another great success story, the bald eagles in this area. But it is interesting that some of these things, the amount of banding I've done over the years, it's sort of, it's cool when you get the notification back if they do find one somewhere else or get the information. A friend of mine found a bald eagle years ago, but it was dead, but it was banded, and then he found it was like over 30 years old.
Really?
So it's just that information, at some point becomes cool or relevant. But it's sort of. It's important to try and keep that kind of, for me anyway, I think there's an importance to it. But actually one I was kind of annoyed about is there's an osprey I sort of follow out in Amherstburg direction, and the male that's been coming for about 4 years, 4 years I've seen it, it's got a red band on one leg and then a regular band with the information on the other leg, and I've been always trying to get photos just of the leg, and I've got photos of them, and assuming there's no detail. Mel Dwight sent me a picture a friend of his got, and you can see partial detail, like half the detail off the band. I'm going, surely that's enough information now. You got half the information and it's red banded.
Yeah.
So
and it's an osprey.
An osprey, and sent it to them and still never got back. Oh, you haven't got enough information.
Really?
I said,
Like if it's 10 digits.
I'm going
or
to
what
have
is-
to. Yeah, I'm going to have to kill the thing. So I think that's the only way you're going to get all the information.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of annoying. Where that other than it being found dead, then is going to be very hard. Then
It'd be a better way for them to actually do it. Almost do color bars.
Well, that's
like
kind
a
of
barcode.
that's what they do with the plovers.
Oh yeah.
They have the one above their knee, with a certain color, and then so they mix them, so they can pretty much tell everything about that bird.
Yeah, that'd be way better.
You don't need
Like numbers is such a weird way to do it.
the number. They put a number band. It's a federal band. They put that on it as well, but they do a color sequence that'll give all the information away. Because I think Paul, the one that he spotted in Erio, I think this year, he got enough information from having just the colors or whatever, the photograph with and they were able to tell it was the first record of it being found again. So definitely there's better ways now to do it, but still, as far as I'm aware, most of the bands we put on are just a federal band, and that's the recapture. And some have done through Holiday Beaches in the fall whenever the raptors are coming through. They're recaps, and
I guess they're more interested in migratory birds too. I guess.
well, that's it, yeah, and
These
that's
ones don't migrate.
it's kind of pointless. I think that's why they don't necessarily do the screech owls, because they might be the ones, or they don't actually go too far. Some may be into Michigan, but it's just like some sort of GPS tracker would
That'd
be
be
nice
cool.
just for
I seen someone did it with their cat. and just to see where it
Oh,
went,
yeah.
went around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty cool track. It just it goes to like one house, hangs out at a house for like a couple hours, and
So
then
then they posted that online saying, "This is my exercise for the day."
Yeah, it's there you go,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, did 30K today. Yeah.
So, have you got any advice for anybody who possibly would be interested either in getting a setup, or even if they were making their own boxes, or
Yeah, lots of information online as far as sizes and things like that. Like it's all I did. I went online and saw just a bunch of them and just mashed together what I thought I would like to do as far as the material I had and what I could get. Height wise, I'm not great on ladders, but just doing this, like I've gotten a lot better.
oh yeah, a
Oh,
little more
yeah.
comfortable.
So mine are up about 16 feet, and that's kind of what they recommend. You know, I don't think you need it up any higher than that.
Right.
Because you're gonna have to clean it out. You're gonna have to, especially if you get a squirrel in there and you don't know what's
Right.
in there, you're gonna have to clean all that stuff.
Hmm.
And yeah, and as far as making it, I would kind of make it so you kind of mine got like a little cleat on it to hang them up, so it's easy to get down if I need to
Right.
get it down and work on the camera and things like that.
So the idea is to put a bit of effort into making one, so that
Yeah.
you don't have any of this.
And just,
'Cause I know they get a lot of people put bird boxes up and then they forget about them, right? But they end
Yeah.
up full, and some of them aren't even opening, right? They're all nailed everywhere, and
Oh,
it's
no,
just
yeah,
got
you
the
need,
hole.
these ones, the whole front opens up and you can.
So
just,
you do have to maintain them
yeah,
quite a bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Once
If
a
you want to
year.
be successful,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
And this, so like, if you got a camera in it, like I don't even think you really need to clean it out. Like,
Yeah, you
in
can
the
just monitor
wild,
it.
they're not going to clean out whatever their cavity is.
True.
Like right now, there is still an egg in there now. It's not a viable
Mm.
egg, but it's still in there. But she was in there last night. They just kind of check in, and she was in there for about 10 minutes, and about 3 in the morning, and then they just kind of rummage around the bottom and then leave. I
Yeah.
don't really know what they're up to, but
Now, how hard would you say it? Because you mightn't say that your job's like a construction work or anything, but you are quite handy, because as I was coming into your house, I've seen two beautiful kayaks strapped to the ceiling. So you're kind of a handy guy. So what level of competence would somebody need to be able to make one?
just there's so many different types you could make. So I mean, these ones kind of have a pitched roof, but you don't need that really.
Okay.
But, no, it's beginner, I would think.
Yeah,
You know.
as long as you.
Like a skill saw and a drill, about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Skill saw drill. And it just depends how long you want it to last too. Like, I kind of use
Decent material.
special screws and adhesives and stuff to, I figure they could last 10, 15 years. And
Right.
you kind of want that, especially if they're coming back, because they're going to
True.
rely on it after
Yeah.
that. You're kind of stuck with them.
Yeah, that's it.
Kind of like kids.
That's it, yeah.
You name them
left
at
you?
all, or
No.
Uh,
Well, just the one, the owl
Yeah.
last year.
yeah, so that was what
Magnolia.
Magnolia.
Just 'cause
that's a good name, yeah.
she,
For
I
the
mean,
tree.
she hatched and the whole tree was in bloom.
Yeah,
It was kind of cool.
and then you find that little documentary we made, the song, you find a song
Yeah,
called
that was-
Magnolia
that
as
was-
well. That was that's
crazy.
It's
Like,
one
I
of the best movies. Movie 2020 was the best movie I watched.
Really?
Chris's.
I'm gonna have to give it a watch. For
Oh,
sure.
no, it is. It's worth the watch. It's like the song went so well
Yeah,
with it.
it was-
Oh,
I just had one night was online just thinking, oh, I should put some music to this, and not really sure how you do that. Never made a movie before in my life, so yeah, just all of a sudden stumbled on that. Actually, I stumbled on the Magnolia rap song first. I'm thinking, this
didn't
is-
quite fit
fit,
there.
yeah, if I can figure out how to slow it down a bit.
Yeah.
And then that one came up, and I was like, wow, just lyrics are good. So same thing too. I went on Music Bed, and it was available to use for legally use. So
Yeah.
I did that, and it just was perfect.
Did you ever contact the person who did the song?
I did actually, yeah, because I had no idea how to. Like, I just didn't want to use it, so
Right.
I actually found out who her agent was, and I sent her a thing saying what I'm doing, and she said, "Oh, that's really cool," and says, "Yeah, who I represent, all her work is available on Music Bed, so you
Oh.
can just go through that way. We don't do it."
Yeah,
Yeah, I let them know that I was doing it. So
that's neat.
yeah,
So it's been a really cool experience. And like a lot of people pay for a few in Windsor and whatever, and you're quite close to Riverside Drive. Most people want to point this way, but I really think this is probably one of the best
Yeah.
views.
Pretty entertaining view for sure.
In the area. No, it's perfect. You can see both boxes. You can sit out in your deck and
Yeah.
enjoy it. And
it's pretty private. The trees have all gotten really big now, and
Yeah.
we have neighbors all around us. Like, it's a subdivision.
It feels like you're in a jungle.
that's it.
It's
Yeah.
cool. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, it's a nice quiet area.
Yeah.
And
I grew up on the street, and when I was a kid, there was all fields here. Like, this was just open area, right to the tracks.
oh,
everything else.
really? Wow.
Then in the 90s, they decided they wanted to develop it. And it was kind of like, yeah, I'm not all for that.
That's
But they've done a great job. Like, it's a lot of houses, but the trails through here are awesome.
Mm.
Like,
And
you
the
can-
trees are like
well,
they maintained a lot of trees.
Yeah.
Or?
Well, this street's 100 years old this year.
Oh, okay,
Wow.
okay.
For some reason, they pushed this street through in 1921.
Really?
and that was about it. They didn't know the streets. Just somebody was like on spec or something. And it wasn't until the 90s they decided we could develop this area because it's all floodplain. Like this, this whole area is below Lake St. Clair, so they had to do all the reservoirs. But I thought they did a great job. As far as now walking trails, like, you can walk for miles.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area.
It's like, everybody wants to live here now.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Well,
And
really,
owls.
that is really
And coyotes now, like people.
Oh,
We've got short backyards, but across the street they've got 500 foot deep,
Okay.
and there's been deer and coyotes there in the last
really?
few weeks. Yeah.
Really?
Well, I know that they do get, obviously in the winter, whatever they say about Pesh Island, which is only a stone's throw from here. They get some, like whenever they go over in the spring and start to see some deer, and there's a lot of coyotes in the winter. You start to see
walking across the ice.
so they're certainly if they're there, they're going to be here. Obviously, with your yard, you're not really going to get unless you get some high jumpers.
No.
Coming in the back, But I think it's still neat that like the natural world has still overcome our sort of industry.
To me, it seems like it's flourished.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some.
When I was a kid, it was all fields and really didn't see this type of stuff.
Right.
Now it's all built up, and I'm seeing deer, eagles, coyotes, everything.
Yeah.
Eagles are like the comeback they've made is
It's
crazy.
and then obviously here the urban areas, you got the peregrine falcons
Yeah.
doing well. And Windsor's a few nests now they're saying records of that there. So it's in spite of what we do, obviously you want to advocate for nature and wildlife. We still put our footprint here, and they're still able to overcome and to a certain extent thrive. There's obviously some downfalls, but it's still nice when you see results like this here.
Yeah.
It's
from what I've read, it seems like the suburban type screech owls fare better than the completely rural ones.
Yeah.
It's just,
What would be like their
lifespan? Or?
no. Like what would be like the predator?
After
like
them, they're
eagles and stuff like that, or
Great horned owls.
yeah, great. Like, some of them.
There is a great horned owl nesting just down the street,
oh yeah,
and it's really loud. Like
Yeah.
they'll fly up here and nest and just roost in the trees in the wintertime. We can have the windows closed, TV on, and you can hear them.
Oh yeah.
They're that
yeah,
loud.
they got a good hoot to them
Yeah.
for sure.
I don't I guess there's Cooper hawks too.
Yeah,
So just basically bigger raptors
bigger
or
raptors, and that's the other thing with some of them. It's even though they're an aggressor as well, they're still if someone comes behind you and grabs you
True.
with the talons, it's going
Yeah.
to be pretty easy kill for them as well. It's not going to there's not going to be much of a fight with some of the bigger raptors, right? So,
That's one thing I'm not seeing really. Just the cameras on outside and cameras inside, but I've never seen
Any
them,
other,
Well, I've never seen them actually. The kill.
oh, okay,
I see a lot. They're bringing a lot of stuff
Yeah.
back in, but as far as how they do it, I have no idea.
yeah.
Got to do like a backyard.
Start
overlook,
the
yeah.
cameras everywhere now.
Yeah.
Getting
I try to make it look like I'm not that crazy.
Well, that's
already.
what people are going
I try to hide the wires and
people are
everything
going to
else,
start talking. Hey, just like, what is this guy doing? Another thing, if people don't know it's about birds, people just think this guy's going crazy.
Yeah, where are these cameras pointing?
Yeah, exactly. But I've enjoyed talking to you about it, and I've enjoyed following you in the last couple of years. With I said just going from the telescope ones, you're going like that was so cool.
Well, I
and then-
appreciate your rambling about smartphones because I kind of felt foolish just using a cell phone to do all this. It's like, I don't have that great equipment, but I thought the results were.
No, and they are like we'll probably do ones further about that. They're just with the digiscoping, like the idea. Whenever your camera's stabilized, it's hard to try and hold it on to thing. But whenever you get that stabilized, the quality in the phones now is phenomenal. So image wise,
we had just a stable target, and it just at the whole of the house, and I was amazed how good it was.
Yeah, that's been great. But I really appreciated
thank you.
letting us come here for one, and then talking to us about
It's the
it.
most comfortable setup we've had too.
Yeah, that's it.
by far.
You might turn up some night and just see us sitting here rambling about something totally nothing to do
Come
with you.
around 9 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it active.
Oh, there you go. No, really appreciate it, and thanks for doing it. And so we'll share some of your footage if you want to send that to us, and
no problem.
we'll send some pictures and video over the podcast, and
Happy to do it.
we'll send some links with the Facebook page for the boxes, and hopefully a few more eyes get on it, because hopefully more local people get because I just get annoyed with people saying there's nothing in wildlife and nature and nothing to do.
No, you just gotta look for it.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, thanks very much. But I think
Thanks for coming out.
that's a bit of a wrap there. So it's going to be a goodbye from Nick.
Goodbye from Donnie.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
See ya.